Hi there, folks. It's Mr. Ramos again, your world history teacher. Go ahead, log in to lodausd.net. Find the clever portal. Log in with your district ID. Cengage Learning World History book. And you have two options here, English and Spanish editions. Unit 4, Chapter 9, Japanese Civilization. Section 3, Japanese Feudalism. Lesson 2, History Through Objects of the Samurai. Here we will explore the armor of a samurai warrior. Just like the knight of medieval Europe, for sure, when you see a samurai, it is quite a sight to behold. Again, just like the knight of early and middle ages, or high Middle Ages, samurais are land-owning lords who own properties and they have money to spend to flex their suits. The first one here is a spear from the 1800s. It's made of iron and wood and crushed mother of pearl. Mother of pearl? Well, Japanese are known with fine and sophisticated things. So, it is not just a weapon for killing people, but for showing arts. This one right here is the face that you make when you learn that school is over or when you are grounded. This is actually a face and neck guard. So, unlike the knight of medieval Europe, instead of a one-piece helmet that covers the head and the face, samurais wear masks for terrifying effects. Next, we have this gold fish right here. It looks like a dragon, but actually it's a combination of a fish and a tiger. Not everyone wears this, but only the powerful and those, of course, who can afford it. Let's see, what do we have here? Next, we have the most famous and often mistaken sword of a samurai warrior. People often call this the samurai, but actually the name of this in Japanese is the katana. Even now, they take pride on how this iconic sword is made. I will show you a video on how they make this iconic, powerful tool of a samurai warrior.
This is the handle of one of the most deadly weapons in the world. The blade is made from some 30,000 layers of steel. This is the legendary samurai sword. In this smithy, they still make the swords in the same tradition that has been used for centuries. An apprentice pieces together fragments of a rare metal called jewel steel, known in Japan as tamahagane. He wraps about 2 kilos of the steel in paper to hold it together. Coats the parcel in ash, and then spoons over some muddy water, which will help draw out impurities when the steel goes into the furnace. The furnace is red hot, almost 1,000 degrees Celsius. Despite the intense heat, the steel still needs to be heated for 15 minutes before it's even slightly softened. Then they batter it with a sledgehammer to fuse the pieces together. They coat it with ash again and reheat it in the furnace so that it can take another battering. They repeat this process for half an hour until the fragments become one lump of pure steel. They need to fold the steel in half, and to do this use a hammer and chisel combined with brute force. The steel is given another splash of muddy water and heads back to the furnace before being folded again. As they fold the steel, the layers increase rapidly. After 3 folds, there'll be 8 layers, after 5, 32, and after up to 15 folds, incredibly, there could be over 30,000. The last folds have to be flattened with a mechanical hammer. The apprentice's work is complete, and it's time for the master to craft the blade. With so many layers of pure steel, it's incredibly strong, and it takes him days to knock it into shape. After the master has finished shaping the steel, it's painted with clay. This isn't just to give it an ornate pattern. When it goes back in the furnace, the clay will cause different temperatures to build up on parts of the blade. This will make some parts softer and more flexible. It has to be heated to exactly the right temperature and for the right amount of time. Too short a time and the exposed steel wouldn't get hot enough. But if it's heated for too long, then the painted area would reach the same temperature as the rest of the blade. That's why the room's so dark. They can tell how hot the sword is by the color it glows. The master checks the blade again, and then he begins to sharpen it. He scrapes it on soft stones which are lubricated with water, creating an incredibly fine point which could cut through armor. Thankfully, it's more likely to end up as a collector's piece. Finally, it's given an ornate handle. After 3 weeks of sweat and toil, there is a single sword, both beautiful and deadly.
Next, because of the European and American influence, samurai learned how to use guns as well to take advantage of this very, well, obviously powerful tool, especially for those who are working for the central government. Some traditional samurai oppose the use of gun. Well, it is the main story behind the movie that I mentioned yesterday, The Last Samurai. It's a conflict between maintaining tradition and modern technology taking over. Next, we have the coat. It is made to be worn over armor because, after all, the Heian era is a very fashionable time of Japanese history. Samurai warriors care so much how they look to the general public. Next, we have the helmet crest. Most of the materials used here are lightweight because its main purpose is really not for protection but for display of art. Go ahead, explore it and see what's in the design. Finally, we have the armor of the samurai. And this armor obviously is a lot like the medieval armor used in Europe. Use your time and explore these objects and answer the questions that I will post in our Google Classroom. Alright, bye for now and see you in our next online class. Stay safe and healthy. Wash your hands, not with the toilet water. You should know that by now. Okay, bye.